So far, they're not chimed in here. You guys want the video on or off?
Is there people waiting?
I haven't seen them yet. You want the video off?
Is this a Zoom meeting or a YouTube meeting?
Both.
He's in the waiting room and watch
Oh,
the video.
there they go. Let me know if you guys see that blue thing pop up there. I don't
Sure.
see it.
He's done. Busy guy.
Oh. A bunch of federal agencies.
Mhm. Money, I got a couple of questions. Cybersecurity.
What Julie said.
Yeah, did she send that to you? Okay. She found some training online.
She just sent an email as I was in the elevator.
So when there's a,
No pause.
No, it's actually live on YouTube right now.
Just to record as much.
Yes. They're recording through Zoom.
just in the text.
Oh, it's on this.
Hello. We're not quite started yet, so.
No rush.
Just a minute or two before we get
Hey,
started.
man,
How are you?
how are you?
Good. Good.
Is he coming? Oh, there he is.
Sorry.
Good to see you. How are you, buddy?
Good to see you.
Commissioner?
Hey, how are you?
How are you? Thought we were in contract negotiations again.
All right, you got that? We're ready to go. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Williamson County Board of Commissioners meeting. It's Wednesday, June 14th, 2023. It's 1:05 p.m. Roll call, please. Present.
Jim Marlowe.
Present.
Jim Rice.
Present.
What we're going to start off with here first, guys, and I think we had you at 1:15, so we need a few minutes before we do that. We're going to start off with a solar community block grant conversation. And are they still muted?
Yeah, he's not me.
Hey everyone, how are y'all?
Real good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Sorry you can't see my face. I'm having some technical difficulties with my camera, so apologies about that.
That's fine. Could you give us your name and your company who you represent?
Yeah, so I'm Miles Walding. I'm one of the business development managers here at InPower Solutions. We're based out of Birmingham, Alabama. My business partner, Cody Doors, who I think some of y'all have spoken with, he'll be along here momentarily as well.
Okay, thank you. What we're doing here today, you guys had asked us to give you a letter of support. And in that letter of support, I think we were requested to announce or to a point where we might want to send this money to.
Yes, sir.
Probably need to hear a little bit more about that. So could you give us a breakdown on what's going to happen with your company in this block grant?
Yeah, for sure. So with these community solar projects, we try to put back to the communities that we serve. As I think that Cody had probably alluded to in the past, what we do, we come to the city because we want you guys to pick where this money goes, because you are the citizens, you are the local residents, so y'all see what y'all are going to know more than we will about your community and how you want those funds allocated. Just to give you a couple examples, one of the projects in Havana, Illinois, for example, they're using that money on a yearly basis, which is $7,500 a year to go to the community. And they're going to use that mainly for a scholarship program for graduating seniors. Another example that's a little bit different, they're in Alton, Illinois. What they're doing is they're taking a one-time payment of I believe it's $60,000 up front. They're going to use that for it's called the Haskell House there in Alton. It's a children's library slash orphanage there, and they're going to use that money, for upgrades and repairs to that facility. So there's an option to either take the money up front for $60,000 and put that into a community fund that y'all see that y'all may want to benefit for one time, or spread it out over the course of 25 years, like we're doing in Havana, for example, where they get that $7,500 each year to go towards scholarships. In Galesburg, they're using that a little bit differently. They're using that to a community project, which is I believe it's youth, and part of it's going to youth relations for the community. And the other part is going to some type of assisted living, senior citizens community project that they have in Galesburg. So it's really up to y'all how y'all want that, how y'all want those funds allocated. So that's what we were requesting in that letter, so we can show the adjustable block program who we're doing these projects through, these solar projects, exactly where the dollars are going to go. And they do that just so so nobody can just say, hey, we'll just take $60,000. We don't know where it's going, but we'll take that $60,000. So we have to be able to show that, hey, this is the program that this is going to support, as well as how the array is going to support the community with power savings and things like that.
Miles, I have a question, and I was asked this by one of the commissioners. During this process, and it's a 25-year process, can that money at some point in the future be allocated to another entity?
Yes, to my understanding from the answers that we've got on that, because I remember we had a conversation, I think it was us and Cody before. It seems like in our research that, say we say we allocate that money to a program for the first, 10 years. And then at the end of year 10, you say, hey, we want to allocate this, we want to take this and allocate this money to a different program. It's our understanding that we will be able to do that. It's just we have to make sure that the funds match up. So if we're funding one community project for $7,500 a year, if we change it, we just got to make sure that we're still funding it for that $7,500 a year.
This is Cody here. Yeah, they do random audits. So, we would just want to make sure, like Miles said, that the amount matched up, and we would probably preemptively try to submit that into the adjustable block just to let them know that this has changed, but the amount has stayed the same. So I think that should be okay there.
All right, you guys got questions?
7,500 has come up. Is that the actual value? Because in the letters I read, it seemed like the numbers were different if you took the 25-year option.
No, the 25-year option for this project would be 7,500.
Thank you.
You guys got any other questions? Okay. All right, Alex, have you got anything?
You guys said you need this letter by the end of June, I think. Is that correct? No adjustments on that?
Yes, that would be ideal. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, well, we don't have any more questions. We can have discussion now. We can wait till after we do the ARPA. You guys feel comfortable about naming those entities now? Or?
I guess it comes down to how much discussion are we going to have. There's no need to hold this up. We can
Yeah,
bring it back
well,
up
that's
later.
kind of what I was wanting to know.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it after this?
Yeah.
Is that all right with you, Jim? All right. Well, Miles and Cody, I think we've got the information that we need from you guys right now. We appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, thank y'all. And again, if anything pops up or questions arise, y'all have Cody and I's contact information. Again, we're here to help, right? And we're here to walk y'all through this process. So if anything comes up that you may be unsure about, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Okay, that's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
So thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good day.
Thanks so much. Have a good afternoon. See you.
I think we have enough information to write the letter once we make a decision.
Yeah, it's just up to you guys to decide if you want the lump sum or spread it out over 25 years and where it goes.
Okay, fair enough. Well, we have, you guys, we'll discuss this after the ARPA. All right, we have a ARPA request. We have people from the city to talk to us about what they're going to do with the ARPA money.
Yeah, here's just some information, some of which you already have. I did print last couple pages of the summary. They're on the back so we can jump right to it if there are any questions. Anybody would like to be welcome. Like I said, that's just to give you an idea where we're headed with it, what it kind of will look like, the finished product. You want me to do some explaining, or do you have questions right off the bat?
Let's say just started.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you look at the page there with the picture of the training facility, our facility, like I said, all the excavations done, the site prep, our training kids are in place. They're not, the welding and all the fabrication is not done yet. We're working on it slowly. Pardon me. Jennifer was with us today. She's the director of business development for the city, and she's helped me with this. We work together. I extended an invitation to her.
Welcome.
And so, anyway, back to that, that gives you an idea of what we're after. It's grown in what our plans were. I had some conversation with the sheriff and Chief Fitz just locally and how we could get that to benefit them. And they threw some ideas at me, and we basically implemented that into this training facility. Then the real caveat to this was University of Illinois reached out to me and said, we hear you're building this regional training facility. We would like to start hosting the Basic Firefighter Academy 1 to 2 times a year, depending on, they want to see it. They want to see the finished product. But I taught there for several years. I've got really good connections with them. They want to use this. They want to get down here and the classes. We've got the classroom there with the old youth center, which is now our training facility. But sky's kind of the limit for it, and it's really going to open up doors for people in Southern Illinois. A lot of smaller departments that doesn't directly affect me, but it indirectly does because they come and work in our community, and the better trained they are, the better they're going to serve all of us. And there's a lot of these volunteer departments that can't go to Champaign. They just can't. They can't do it. They work through the week. This is going to provide them an opportunity to train them, as far as also the law enforcement. It's going to give those guys more opportunity to train, make them better. And like I said, the sheriff and I have talked. He says there's a lot of value in it to him, so we're going to try to cater to them as well, get those guys used because we work together, you know, and we do a lot. We're going to do a big active shooter training drill all week long thing with them and the police department. So, I mean, the long and short of it, it's going to provide opportunity to the area, smaller towns of Williamson County that they just can't travel and do what we get to do. So,
Where are you gonna build this at, Clint?
right there at the old youth center
That's where it's
on
gonna go.
Boulevard, yes, sir. Right behind it. And if you drive by there, you'll see it. It's started. The cans are up. They're not complete. We've still got other parts that are ordered for them. There's a big roof prop that you can see, kind of the roof prop on there, the gray thing. We've got a full roof prop on this. It's not installed yet. It's all ordered. But the cans are in place. Yeah, it's moving. It's moving. It's just, I have to just take little baby steps because I'm limited to what I can do. And if we're afforded this opportunity, I mean, we're gonna go. You'll see the fruits of our labor because it's gonna happen.
How many days a year you will complete it? How many days a year roughly do you think it'd be utilized?
Well, let me just speak for Marion Fire Department. We would use it multiple times a month. So let's say 3 to 5 times a month, we would be there doing live burns, you know, so.
So this is not just a couple of times a year?
Oh, no, this is going to be used a lot. We also, in this prop, when you get there, you'll see there's vehicles. We had electrical fire training there on electrical vehicles. We had it at this facility because we didn't have to use the cans. But we've got props for cars. We can set fires in the cars. And it'll be used a lot. And they're driving me crazy all over the county, especially Williamson County Fire. They want to get in there and do it. They want to get in there and get this training started. So it's really going to be good for Southern Illinois.
Will we be able to use this as a recruiting tool? I understand everybody's having trouble finding people.
Absolutely.
This help.
Absolutely. Can I give you any sort of guarantee who's going to show up when those jobs are available? No, but I can tell you right now, if they're not, they're going to have opportunities they haven't had before because they can't tell us they can't get to Champaign to train. It's going to be right here in Southern Illinois. So it's an opportunity. It's a lot of work. It's easier to sit on our hands and do nothing. That's not how I'm wired. So I think if like I said, if you do see fit, your money will be well spent.
To the money, I know we had an original request.
Yes, sir.
And then an updated request.
Yes.
Fairly significant increase.
Yes.
What's associated with that?
The reason being is when I was approached by University of Illinois, me and Jennifer had this conversation, the first thing I told her is I don't want to hit the gift horse in the mouth. I said I don't want to look inappropriate. But we thought about it and throw it out there because I can't make this happen just on what I budgeted. And when University of Illinois contacted me and wanted to start hosting their basic, it's called a BOF program, BOF. It's a Basic Firefighter Academy. When they wanted to start doing that here in Southern Illinois, it's never been done. We're talking 30 to 40 guys, instructors coming down, staying. It's a 18-week program, you know, on the weekend. So we're going to you'll have 10 to 12 instructors every weekend staying in the motels. We'll have people from all over taking this program. It's going to put a lot of people in our community spending money in our restaurants, staying in our hotels. So that's why the increase, because there's some things they require and that we hadn't planned for. We just want to be able to do. And if I can meet those requirements, it's gonna happen. They would like to see it happen this fall. They said they would use it if I could get it.
Can you make that happen?
I'm really my very best. My very best.
I'm sure if I caught on that. So you said the increase was for what again?
The increase is some of the props that we have to have, there's some props, and if I start using the names, like door props, forcible entry props that they require. Some of their burning containers that they require, we were gonna put one, they require 3 that I have to put in there. I have to put some more fencing to secure the site for the equipment they're gonna bring down. That's what it is, it's just for more infrastructure. It's more infrastructure and more props for this training facility. That's absolutely what it's for. But, you know, it doesn't, Marion's gonna put out a lot. Marion's gotta have fire engines there every time they have this academy, so if it's 18 weeks, if it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we have to provide fire engines, which is gonna have cost because our guys have to run them and man them, but they're willing to do that, just to get them here, to get that type
The
of.
city picking up all the rest of the infrastructure.
They are.
Water, electric, all the
Yes.
stuff you need.
Yeah.
Water's close, at least.
Yeah, it's real close. I think we'll have great pressure. But there again, we're right on the water tower. That's what it boils down to. University of Illinois. They said if you can pull this off and you can make it a little bit bigger and meet the requirements we have. So that was the additional request. And like I said, I did that. I didn't do that half-heartedly and without thought, because we did talk about that. So I absolutely don't want to look inappropriate. But if by chance there's a little bit of additional, we can make it happen. And that was why the change in the request.
So that amount that you did ask for, that will pay for the entire project?
That will be everything, everything. And the city's about $38,000 into it right now.
Yeah.
So they are, it's not like it's gonna not be matched or they're not gonna do their part, because they're gonna do their part. They really are.
I just wanted to make sure that if we do this, we gave you guys enough to do the whole project.
Yeah, if we can do this, yeah,
You got it.
yeah, we're gonna be off and running.
When do you think the project will be completed?
This initial phase completed, like I said, I hope I've got everything going by the fall. Jim, I don't know I'll have everything done, but I'll have it at least to meet the requirements for them to host an academy. I'll have that done, and it's gonna continue to grow and evolve and get bigger and better over the next few years, because it's gonna provide a lot of opportunity. I've already been reached out to by a company that does auto electrification, vehicle car crashes. They want to host trainings here, so I think it'll be great for the community. There again, it's a lot of work for me, and I ask myself at times, is it worth it? But the first class we had out there, we had people all the way from Effingham here for the electrical car training.
You be doing that there too?
Yes,
It's a big deal.
it's a big deal.
I don't want to be you guys having to fight those fires.
It's a pain.
You put it out, it starts back up.
Yeah, you just really can't put it out.
No.
Yeah, so but anyway, we train, that's what we do. Hope we don't have to use it. So I appreciate you guys even thinking about it. It means a lot to me, letting us come by here.
Well, you know, and I had talked to you earlier, and I told you I thought we were going to take a break. And I think we really needed to take, we had made a lot of
Sure.
grants. I think we needed a short break on this to kind of catch our breath.
Sure.
Just to reevaluate what we were doing. But this is such, in my opinion, this is right in our wheelhouse. This is a project that we had originally been looking for.
One thing else I might add too, over the last 2.5, 3 years, this whole COVID deal, our training got stopped. We weren't able to go to, IFSI wasn't hosting it for a while. And then you were trying to fight fires in a mask. I mean, it was bad up there. They were trying to get it and you were in a mask. But so we didn't even, for 2 years, if it wasn't in-house training and local training, these guys weren't getting it. So now it's guns blazing. Guys are trying to get caught up on not getting these state mandated trainings in over the last 2.5 years. So I think that's why they're so anxious to have these off-site training facilities. But
I see this as helping keep the volunteers too. We got this training.
oh, it absolutely will.
Yeah.
It absolutely will. I mean, we're lucky, City of Marion. They don't balk on the training, but we work with all these other towns and they're here all the time, you know, so it ultimately affects us all. So I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good. appreciate you.
All right. You guys have any more questions? No. You want to make a decision? No, we can decide on this right now.
Where do we stand with the ARPA funds? That's the question.
How much is the grant?
72,500 more or less.
I mean, you have, well, you're getting that in 2.5 months of interest right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think there's still some left in the original
That's
amount.
what
I mean, we had several $100,000 that built up in interest over the course of the last.
I was correct. Jim, you told me.
Very.
Yeah,
I think it's something that needs to be done.
I just wanted to make sure that we had certain, so.
I know, I felt
I
comfortable
think
with
very
agreeing with this. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the ARPA request. For the,
Go ahead.
sorry,
Go ahead and make your motion, Jim.
the ARPA request for the, I would imagine it's the Marion Fire Department?
Yes, sir.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Tim Atkinson,
Yes.
Jim Marlowe,
Yeah.
Jim Racer.
Yeah.
How about that?
That's correct.
We'll work up a project, a grant agreement, and we'll just ask you guys to come in and sign,
Okay,
and then the funds will be available after that.
and then my point of contact will be,
You need to, when it comes to getting
The
money,
guy with the scooter,
yeah,
the pink scooter.
because we have different things, different grants we've made, and so he has different processes.
Okay.
depending on what type of business.
Here's one special.
or anything else, contact you.
And the
You
way
guys don't know each other, do you?
Not too bad.
money will be put aside into a fund, and then you just turn the bills and
Yeah.
invoices into him.
Well, he'd be a reimbursement. They spend it, we reimburse it,
Okay,
and we pay quick.
okay, I'll spend quick, no problem. I've got it all laid out, so there's no secrets. You'll see where we're at, so. All right, are we staying for the rest of the meeting or?
No, sir.
Be excused. All right, thank you.
We don't, nobody else.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you. Greg, it's good to see you. Take care. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jim.
I'll call you. See you guys.
Congratulations, Jennifer. On your daughter.
Oh, thank you. Still recovering a little
I'm
bit.
sure, I'm sure.
That's all.
Well, let me see. You find it? Mayor says, that was on May 31st when I sent it to Stephanie and asked her to forward it to you guys May 31st. And you got it?
Yes.
Okay. May 31st, June, I don't know when she sent it to you. Yes, it says May 11th on the description. So, back to the solar community block grant. I have to, like I said, I have to write these guys a letter of support for this block grant. The $7,500 a year comes in every year for 25 years. And they left that up to us, they'd like us to just, like you said, just kind of say where it goes from there. Once again, it's not 100% set in stone, I think we can change it. That was the information they gave us. So what you're thinking?
I'd be very having the work zone.
You gotta earn 5% or more for it to make it worth your while.
Over 25 years, you're talking about over $180,000. You triple the impact. I get you spread it out. And I'm glad the question came up because I don't think there's anybody in this room that believes the need is going to be the same 15 years from now that we see now. So the ability to change.
The entities that we choose may change.
Right.
Jim, you said you'd like to have reserve. What did you have a use for that 60,000?
No, I'm just assuming that, this board here 25 years, you'll have a number of different people on the board. Could use money in your direction or stuff. We get money.
Yeah.
We the ones that sign the letter, we the ones that decide for that money. So we get the other boards. I'm not saying right on that, I'm just saying.
Right. But no particular use right now.
No, I have no particular. It's just the option of we have the direction. Allocate whatever direction.
What was your thoughts, Jim? Did you have any?
Well, first, I'm on the 25 years, just because I think we get so much more bang out of it. All boards are organic. I just think that comes with what we do. We just have to have faith there. As far as what to do with it, I didn't know how much the amount was going to be, so in my mind, there's some flexibility. I think we can split this if we need to, and maybe hit a couple of different things. But the one that came to the top of my list was, we have a growing number of seniors in Williamson County that can't pay their utility bills. Since we are talking about the money coming from a solar power company, I thought there was a relation there to tie into. I spoke with officials from the Salvation Army, and they do this sort of thing every month. They said the number is growing, the amount of the checks they're writing is getting bigger. They can't keep up, Crosswalk can't keep up. And again, just the fact that the number of seniors is growing that can't pay or are struggling to pay their entire utility bill, it seems like a natural marriage to me to give some money towards helping them.
When, did you have, you said you did talk to those two entities?
Well, I talked to Salvation Army.
Salvation Army? If we were to give them the money, would any of that be used in administration?
No.
100% out to the people?
100%, and they said, just write up the document, and they'll be glad to commit that it stays in Williamson County, where both of those organizations work outside of Williamson County as well. They would tie it to here, they would tie it to that purpose. They would lock it down for us. They were more than appreciative that they were even being considered.
They would send it out to every community as the need grows, or would they centralize it in Marion?
The need comes to them. The folks show up at their door, the folks call, but I just got this power bill that's twice what it was last year and I can't pay it, what do I do? And they make arrangements with those folks to help them get them paid. They also work a lot on education to try and help them understand why the bill's doing what it's doing, get them whatever breaks they can, so.
Do you know how much they typically send out on an individual request?
I don't, but when I discussed a much smaller number with them, they said, well, that would help with, 10 or so bills. This amount of money would be considerably more than that. But,
The entire 7,500?
well, and again, I don't, if you guys have not spoken yet, if there's something else as compelling, that could be split. I mean, we can do it. I'll just leave it there.
Sure.
But yeah, if that money went to them, they would use every penny of it and still look for more. That's what the need. Every time we see one of these groups come through, whether it's for the homeless or whatever we give them, they can always use
They can
more.
always use it. And whatever they do is extra.
But they utilize it.
So Jim, if we went to 7,500 a year, did you have any choices, places you want to send that?
No, I'm sure.
Okay. Well, there was kind of a couple that were kind of obvious to me, because they've been in, I've never thought about Salvation Army, and now that I think about it, that's an obvious choice also. But the two that I was thinking about were ones that we actually gave some ARPA funds to. And that's really the reason why they came to mind first, and that was the CASA and the child advocacy. And I think both of those organizations, like you said, the Salvation Army, the funds they give us is never enough. And you're right, the Salvation Army has a component to the energy. This is coming from the regional grant. So that would be my two choices. And then if we could break it into thirds, 2,500 a pop.
I think you're helping a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
Some of that, is available right now, for our general assistance. They come to the county and fill out. They get, was it $50 per electric bill per utility bill?
Is that a monthly thing, Stephanie?
They're on
So
the program for a year.
that they what, they can be up for a year? Okay, is there a total amount of people that can be on that program?
No, if you're on it for 1 year, you have to be off of it for 1 year, and then you can reapply.
And that's not just for housing assistance, it can be used for utility?
Yeah. They don't know it now.
Utility, water, electric,
And that's $50 a month.
$50 a month. And I think it does involve 2 drug tests during the beginning, and then midway through, they're taking out the other tests. But, no, I think Salvation Army is good, avenue. I'll do it in that. So I'm open for anything.
So what do you think? If we do like the third and third?
Yeah, if we can do the thirds, I mean, anybody know why we couldn't do that?
You know, so. But you said another one too.
CASA and the child advocacy. Right, and because they actually do different jobs for the kids. So that would be my choices.
I think those would be, I think those would be 3 good choices.
Okay, well, and I hated to kind of force the issue, but I need to get the letter written by the end of the month, and we were kind of running out of time on this. So, I'll get the letter written. Does this need a vote, do you think?
I think we're just
To
first.
be honest with you, I'm semi-blind on this issue, other than what I've heard today. That they need a support letter, and somehow you guys are getting money for writing that letter. So that's the extent of my knowledge.
That's essentially, I hate to say it, that's.
So I don't know what you're voting on.
So
You drafting a letter of support for them.
That's what I think.
they're coming in, they paid they're gonna pay the permits, I think they've purchased the property, they've got rights to the property, whatever, then they're going to use this letter as the application for the block grant that they are convinced they're gonna get. So, once again, it's out there, I think the potential for the county to get this is pretty high.
I guess
They have this in multiple areas.
From the legal standpoint, my only question would be, you write this letter, they get the block grant, what guarantees that the county gets the money?
I think
haven't
that's
seen
part
any
of,
paperwork in regards to that.
I think that's part of the block grant, is that they're required to give this.
And does the county get the money, or do they send the money directly to the groups we're suggesting?
That, you know what, that's a good question. I've not seen any of the paperwork. So we can request them to send the paperwork.
Yeah,
Right.
Well, I think probably we need to do that.
But
I mean, from an
if,
audit standpoint, it'd be better if it came to us, then I would write the checks out, and then I would get the corresponding documentation or materials from the respective groups of what they use the funds for, and be able to provide that.
and my guess is that's how it comes in. I can make a call to the city of Atlanta, but believe it or not, even though they're 4+ hours away, they're
You know,
a
so-
client of mine.
yeah, you know,
So I can get some information. I just, like I said, just wasn't aware of it.
right.
So.
Well, and I was more concerned, I figured if they get it, then those things will be worked out. They've still got to get it first.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
It's seemingly that they need your letter in order to get it, but you don't have anything from them that
Says that they're guaranteed.
says that you get the benefit. So you could write the
Right.
charitable letter and not
Never
get
see it.
anything. So
Right.
that was my only thing.
They actually said, they did send us letters from places that they have actually completed this process.
So then, why don't we just do the head nod or whatever for the letters?
Right.
Or you go ahead and ask for the other information.
Right.
When the money does come in at that
Then
time,
it's
then
done.
why don't we decide to vote how to disperse it?
I needed some guidance from the board as to what to actually put into the letter, which is what I was really looking for today.
So, I mean, right, well, that's just go right.
I'll get it done. And that's gonna be child advocacy.
We'll vote on that whenever that money comes in.
Yeah, it sounds like you can change that from year to year. If
Yeah.
that's what you desire to do. clearly Havana's doing it as a scholarship, so it's changing people.
I think the only thing we probably can't do is change the 7,500 as opposed to a lump sum.
I don't think you can change that, but I think you can change of
Right.
where you're spending it.
Okay, so that's what I'll do. I'll write the letter, and once I get the letter, then I'll send it to you guys.
Okay.
So you can take a look at it. Moving on down the agenda, we have a resolution for the amendment to the liquor license. And Mr. Patel was in here yesterday and made his argument as to why we should extend our residency requirements out. What were your guys' thoughts on that? Do you have any thoughts as to whether or not we should do that? If we should, how can we make this thing work?
I'll say this, being a former liquor commissioner, I mean, we've modified the liquor ordinances over time for various reasons. Like we had extended opening times on Sundays to allow bar and grills to start serving alcohol. Prior to when big games were on TV and stuff, instead of waiting till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So, we've modified it, the board's discretion. I look at it too, as okay, like with the county, if somebody is hired to go on against a deputy, is there a requirement you have to be within the county, or is it within a certain time from around? Do you know?
What's that?
The deputy being hired, do they have to reside in the county?
They do not.
Okay, so if they.
Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know about Williamson County and the new sheriff on what requirements are. Some counties have a requirement that they're contained within the county. Some municipalities, such as Marion, broke that chain. Carbondale broke that chain. They now can hire, I think, 20 miles away, 25 miles away. So it's a response time issue for those entities on emergencies. The reason for the residency requirement in the past was for a responsible person being local that you could get a hold of.
Right.
But as we saw with one entity here, they had that person that was local, and we still had difficulty getting a hold of that person to have hearings, et cetera. So I can tell you the city of Anna changed theirs to read that the owner or manager had to live within 30 minutes of the city. Carbondale has changed theirs also to a time allocation. Carterville has changed theirs. And again, because of the same issues of businesses that you want to invest into your community, yet they don't necessarily live here because they've got businesses in multiple communities, makes it difficult sometimes to find that responsible person that's willing to sign off.
I get it. And the point was that I was trying to make was that, there are other instances where you don't have to really reside in the county to do whatever is required, what you're going to do. And based on what Brett just said about the other entities, I would be willing, to modify it and put it in a 30-minute, drive.
Does that seem to be the easiest way to get that changed, that is to do a 30-minute?
Yeah, I mean, I've, during the Marion's presentation, we took the highlighted language from the packet and we would add the 30-minute language in 2 different locations. It's 1 location, but in 2 different sentences about either the owner or the manager had to be within 30. So that's where you would put it if you're going to do it.
I know in times past, this has been an issue. We have had a problem with one entity where they said they lived in the county.
Okay, but they didn't, yeah.
Taught, and there was a bit of an issue there. So the only thing I didn't care too much for what he said was if you get somebody who is responsible, who determines, that's kind of subjective. Who's responsible? I would just say that'd be my suggestion. So, and I would be open to it for the rest of the board. So that's my.
Again, I think the idea of expansion within reason makes sense to me. I wouldn't want to see this snowball grow. We never want to see where someone lives out of state or expanded to that point. So I think there has to be a limit. The travel time gives me a little pause because then we get into, well, I'm 30 minutes away, but that road is bad and there was traffic. And so that gives me a little bit of an issue that, especially when we're dealing with legal, we can turn that around anyway, expanding to adjacent counties, a mileage from the center of the county, a mileage from each border. I'm good with all of those because I think they're a little more defined. But any of it within reason, I'm good with.
If we did miles in the county, like a board, well,
I mean, even 5 miles, as I look at a map this afternoon, 5 miles would get you out to West Frankfort, Carbondale, Goreville. So you're getting sort of the surrounding communities all inside of that. Make it 10 miles and you're easily within half of the surrounding counties. If you go any more than that, I think you just go adjacent counties.
Well, and honestly, that's kind of where I was thinking was going to happen was counties that are this county.
Yeah.
So if we did that, abutting counties, if they, right, if they have a connection to this county, you know, that's kind of what I was thinking, because I think it's 30 minutes is so arbitrary. I don't know how we even do that. I mean, is that 30 minutes at 7 o'clock in the morning, when there's 1,000 cars on the road going to Carbondale?
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to make that, and get hung up by a train, and I think that's, to me, that's kind of arbitrary. So would you be willing to do abutting counties?
I would be willing to do buddy counties. I'd say this, you know, we'll see how it goes. If in a couple of years you find out it's not working out, hey, would you want us to go back?
That's got a look on his face.
No,
Okay.
I don't have any problems with it. Again, I'm just looking at solving the issues. I smile because of the comments that you guys make about the time. Those are the same comments that I had with other entities, saying it's very difficult. Is it driving the legal speed limit? You know, because then that's the response I got was, well, driving the legal speed limit. It's like, well, okay. But then I got to ask a question back up. Is there any reason that we have to have them here in 30 minutes?
Yeah, it's
And
totally
so
arbitrary.
it's one of those things, but when you're dealing with law enforcement, the response time is important.
Yeah.
And then I got thrown back, well, 2 minutes makes a difference on a response time for a firefighter versus, you know, I mean, so you get into those conversations. That's the only reason I
So I
smile.
do have a question then, in this, now that I think we've kind of maybe decided we can do adjacent counties. If we have an issue with an owner, because Mr. Patel said that he's had a liquor license for 7 years, and to me, that was kind of compelling. I don't think we've ever had an issue with Mr. Patel at all. So why would we not make it easier for him to do business in our county? But on the reverse side of that, we have somebody that maybe has been or in the future may be hard to deal with it. Do we need a mechanism in there that would rescind that? Say, okay, no, we've had an issue with you, now you need to be in the county if we're gonna deal with you.
The question is the nexus, you know, of what does that accomplish as far as making the person reside within the county versus residing in Jackson County or, you know, residing in another. What greater teeth does it give you? What greater enforcement, what greater supervision, any of those things, and that's where I would struggle.
Only to the effect that maybe a liquor license could be denied on that.
Yeah, and again,
Right.
hypothetically speaking, you wanna make sure that you're not setting yourself up for other reasons that it could have been denied or required of that person. Because we know that we're gonna get those issues thrown out, whether that be religious or whether that be racial or whatever. So you just don't wanna set it up to where you're judging, putting yourself in a position to modify that by being required to, and then have those other factors. So I think you want to avoid that, in all honesty. If you're gonna do it, expand it, and everybody, what you're trying to prevent is, as Commissioner Razor said, somebody living in a different state, somebody living in Chicago. You know, Carbondale faced that issue for years of Carbondale landlords, you know, were actually located in Chicago. And so trying to get enforcements put together in hearings and everything else became very impractical because they had to serve them. And that's the biggest issue that we have with the liquor, is we have to serve notices on the individuals. And so we don't want to be chasing them all around multiple states or other counties.
Yeah.
Adjacent counties is one thing, but having to travel
Yeah, I don't think,
Champaign to pull somebody is.
yeah, I don't think we want any part of that at the maximum adjacent counties.
Which is still a pretty good area.
That's,
So
right.
they should be able to find somebody.
They should be able to find
before the
somebody.
Be worth him to just run everything by the state liquor commission, you know, their attorneys, but obviously I have a funny feeling they're gonna say, hey, it's a local issue, you decide it yourself.
This is a local issue.
This is,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
There's nothing contained within the
The
state
only,
statute.
yeah, so when you ask yourself, well, why would we need to have somebody there? You know, why would they call the manager, bring the manager back, or whoever, he's on back? If it's an emergency, whether it be a fire, police, a fight, whatever, or again, I mean, police or fire.
Or just essentially
You know,
to have a hearing on misbehavior.
so. I'm good with it.
All right, somebody want to make a motion on that? And we'll-
I'll make a motion that we modify the liquor ordinance to allow either the manager or owner to reside in the adjacent counties.
Counties that are directly abutting,
Abutting
Have-
to
have
Williamson
a-
County. Extend that range to abutting counties.
that have a border with Williamson County.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Tim Atkinson.
Yes.
Michael Marlowe.
Yeah.
Jim Rader.
Yay.
Thank you, gentlemen. I think Mr. Patel will be happy about that. I think so too. I think it's just a smart thing for us to do.
Yes.
Moving on down. Does anybody have anything else before we go on to miscellaneous? Jim, you okay? Actually, you have some ARPA stuff for us. How's the foot?
I'm here, you know. Could be worse.
I like that. Now, did you get a permit and license for that scooter?
Sure.
Okay.
Just a small discussion.
I like the baskets.
It came in handy,
Did you
actually.
select that color?
Yeah. One of my employees, their church had this. I thought, oh, I don't care what it looks like.
Yeah, as long as
As long
that's
as it works.
You wrote it.
So, let's see, we've got a couple. I think you've already signed one that you have in your hands as well for the sheriff's office. Sling River Farms has submitted 2 invoices, one for Ross Construction, $16,183.39, and then Warner Schifrin for engineering work. Ross Construction was just contract work through May 26th. Horner Schifrin was $15,303.35, so the total amount of this is $31,486.74. They did just email me another one, but I didn't have time to prepare it, so I'll get that to you the next time.
Yes.
Then I received the first request from Zion United Church of Christ for their Shine program, which is to provide food provisions, you know, for nourishing meals for the underprivileged in Marion. They've given me invoices and receipts to cover, I think, May 22nd through June 9th, which is the first few weeks of the program. Total amount of that is $4,059.26. Pastor Holt said, unfortunately, they have given out probably 3 times the amount of meals that they provided in the past 2 years. So he's not, I guess, is optimistic that this money is going to last him for 2 years. It may last for 1.5 years. He's hopeful that maybe this is just an early rush and that it'll subside a little bit. So,
Well, it gives you breathing room to find.
it does, yeah,
more
to
information.
get other donations and reach out for other partners. And then this, I mean, isn't ARPA per se, but it's a grant request. The county acts as the conduit for the city of Johnson City for their elevated water tower project. We got another check from the downstate community business grant program, which we act as the conduit for $25,000. So got the claim prepared, and I'll be preparing the check and then submitting that to DCO for audit purposes. That's from the prior year. I just pulled it to make sure I was doing it per their specs. They have a little few quirks that we never ever do for anybody else. 2 signatures on a check, which isn't even required anymore.
But they do.
Yes, yes. So, and I've made a request that perhaps change their language to read what goes on in the actual financial markets for now, but they haven't done that as of yet. That's all right. Unless you have any other questions for me.
Thank you, Ashley. Jim, you said you had something?
Yeah, we were talking about memories yesterday, we were talking about the animal control building contract. Got to talking with Kevin Harris, and I asked him, no, we charge $2.10 per resident of any village that we get to county animal control covers. I asked Kevin, I said, how has it been $2.10? Well, that probably he looked back and said 2007. I think that's his time. And honestly, I know we can, I'm not going to vote on anything here. All I'm saying is, consider it. Kevin has looked around at various other counties, and it's kind of all. But I think I'd like to see possibly $2.50 to $3 per person from that point on, maybe an increase every year. So, just food for thought. But since 2007, we've gone through a number of increases, payroll, insurance, equipment, benefits, everything. So that's quite a period of time that we have had an increase in payment. And now we're looking at a new facility, a state-of-the-art facility. I think it's very well justified this time. And to let the cities know ahead of time, I think we signed those contracts about a month or so. Give them a heads up maybe next year.
Oh, yeah, we'd have to be able to time the budget, but it's, for none of them, it's a huge number. For no entity, but some of the smaller entities, they are. Okay.
Just not food for thought.
Kevin's going to get back to you on what other counties are charging.
Yeah, he's already looked at it. So, maybe we want to put that on maybe sometime or.
Okay, you get us the information first.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We could get the information.
Yeah.
Sure.
I did, after the meeting yesterday, I gave Martin Dillon a call, and he sent the contract that you received before he sent us the proposal, so he didn't actually have the numbers to put into it. So he's sending us, I think he included you guys in that email. He's sending us a contract that has all the numbers and the deletions and things that are questions about. The percentage rate for non-payment, that's kind of a standard thing. I think we'll probably see a small reduction in that from 3%, maybe down to 1.5% or something like that. But he told me that they leave that in there just to cover themselves in the case that there's no non-payment. Specifically is if the county does not pay, they have that charge to I know, and I told him, I said, we're mandated by statute to pay, but go ahead and leave it in there.
Can we add a clause if they don't perform the services, they pay us a penalty?
Just how big are they?
So we'd kind of like to keep the cost of this project under control, and when we start talking about liquidated damages, I think the cost will balloon.
I get it, I'm just saying, if you want to use the argument, well, this is how we always do it to protect
Well,
ourselves,
this is how we do it to
then we
protect
throw
ourselves.
our, and then everybody's protected.
I'm not sure that was a negotiation I had with him on that.
I know, I'm sorry. I didn't have lunch.
I do have another thing, guys, while I've got you here and would like to talk to you about. We have to have a cybersecurity training, and our previous IT people were supposed to provide that, and I don't think anybody ever received that training. And that is a topic of discussion for another meeting. I think we should have that at some point in the future. But today's comment that I have is that Julie has found us a company that it's actually our cybersecurity insurance company, which is a third-party insurance company to ICMRT. They have training. They provide it to us for free. So the employees would click on to the links, would take them to training and all of that. But one thing that we do have to do, including the training, another thing that we have to do is we have to designate someone as a point person or a point entity or whatever. And that has to be turned into the state. That person has to be available, should it be an issue or something like that. So we kind of need to figure out who we're going to ask to be that point person in this. And I think Julie said that that designation has to happen before the end of the year, before the end of the fiscal year. And first thing I thought of is if somebody's going to attack us with cybersecurity, it's more of a law enforcement issue. I was thinking maybe about approaching the sheriff and seeing what he would do if he has somebody that might be capable of doing that. If not, then we'll have to figure out who we would ask. So just kind of ponder on that and see if we can come up with somebody that has to do that. And then also in the process of taking care of another requirement that we have special waste and recycling program that we're working on. And that program includes, our part of the program includes Franklin County and Jefferson County. And I'm going to approach Franklin County. We have to designate somebody to be the point person for that program that answers questions from the state if they arise. And Greater Egypt has suggested that we talk with Bi-County. I reached out to Bi-County today about that. And I think what will happen is that I will reach out to Franklin County, find out who their person is that is in charge of this for their county. And I'll ask them if they would make a coordinated ask with Franklin County to find us a point person for that. If not, one of us may have to be designated as that point person. Okay. I think that's all I have. Jim, you got anything?
I do.
Jim, you got anything else?
On that part of waste management, we had talked earlier in the year about having a big countywide cleanup day. It brought to my attention, and I want to ask the board's opinion on this. Do we want to get this out? Originally, Public Service came to me and talked about this. We used it in the past. That doesn't mean we can't bid this out. So do we need to go ahead and bid this out? And I guess, Brett, is that just up to the board decision, or do you have any legal opinion on that? Or?
So do you guys have designated a county trash collector by ordinance or any sort? No.
I'm not aware of any ordinance for that.
I didn't know, a lot of the municipalities, when they negotiate their contract for their municipal trash services, if they don't operate it themselves, oftentimes will build into their agreements that this will also include one wide cleanup day or those types of things. So that's the reason I was asking if you guys had any type of an agreement out there already.
The building commission might, but
Yeah,
but we don't. Not my knowledge.
because of the county element. I guess the other question is, do you want to work in conjunction with municipalities, or are you looking at making this county-wide, and it doesn't matter what municipality you're in? Those types of things, I think all need to,
The idea is countywide.
but then located where is going to be.
It was going to be, the idea was when I started talking with Republic, it was going to be at the Aaron transfer station. But
Because I don't know how many cities have a citywide cleanup day already. I mean, because if you're targeting the county residents,
We're targeting.
I understand they're also part of the city, but the city's also potentially has one.
I think Mr. Gentry used to check residency cards when they drove up, but, you know, other than that, the idea was to have, most of your citywide cleanups were already taking place at a certain date, so this was going to be planned sometime after that the cities already had their clean pickup date.
So you've done these in the past.
Yes,
Have you bid those out?
I think it
we
was,
we did have multiple agencies come and drop off containers, and it was held at the highway department. And so there was a volunteer, not a volunteer, it was highway department employees would sort it out and stuff. We did a contract with a recycler for electronics at a time or two, and they would set up. So when people would come in, we'd say, what do you have? You have any electronics? You go over here. If you got general waste, go over here. If you got metals, go over here. But this was something that the idea of, we hadn't had a county pickup in a while, so we thought about doing it and talking with Republic. They suggested let's expand this to not only just general waste, talking about maybe tires, electronics, white goods, everything, you know, except for maybe chemicals, no
So
chemicals.
do they have a
And they were going to,
price tag on
yeah,
this?
they were going to get back to me. They haven't yet. It's been a little while. But in the meantime, I've been approached by some others that maybe ought to bid this out. And so that's why I'm asking the board's opinion. You know, I want this to work out good for everybody. I want to put this in a good light. If we need to bid it out, that would be good enough. If we think we've gone so far already with the Republic, finish with the Republic and next year. We really haven't, they haven't really gotten back with me on anything.
I mean, we've seen no paper, there's no set plan. I don't see a reason
It's just an idea.
to not bid it out,
with you.
and give local companies a chance.
If we had the ability to bid it out, my vote would be to bid it out.
Okay, that's fine. That's
Let's
why-
include everybody in
And
the
that's
county.
why I'm bringing this up. Fine, get a direction, so I'll contact them.
Are you gonna put together a plan
Well,
Some kind
I
of
thought
action
maybe,
plan?
you know, I think I'll look at what we had, I had written down from our meeting with the public, and I'll present it to you guys. It's kind of simple, but you guys think of anything else, and then we can maybe come up with something to put out in the paper or the press or somehow release of some sort. And say, listen, if you want to participate in this, we would like to bid on this. And then, once the company has been awarded the bid, then we'll set a date. So, we want to make sure that they can provide pickup service for tires, for white goods, for everything else.
How do we answer the question as to how much they would be required to pick up? Are we gonna be looking for a amount per ton?
Well, this is where we probably need to talk to the individuals, you know, bring them in. If we get a couple different bids, we can call them in and discuss what they can do.
Okay, then that's not really bidding, that's negotiating. So what we have to figure out is what that bid document looks like.
Right.
So if that bid document is gonna say up to X number or whatever, it needs to specify, so that way everybody's bidding apples to apples.
Okay. Could we put like maybe unlimited?
It's yours. I mean, you know, first and foremost, I don't think it's gonna exceed $25,000, so I don't think it's required to bid. I understand the competitive bid process and wanting to get involved. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
But then to throw it out there, I think you could say, you know, we want a lump sum, flat rate price for one day. Who knows how much you're gonna get brought in?
Yeah. So,
Because we may have no
And then
participation.
they gamble. They may say, hey, this is gonna be great, And it may be the rainiest day in the world and nobody brings anything and they're licking their chops because they made a ton of money. You don't know.
I would have to say that without a specific number, we would probably look at $110,000, maybe $180,000.
You know how much trash was hauled in years past?
Yeah.
Because then that'll give you an estimate as to, that could be additional information, including the bid pack.
And
In past years, it was X volume.
Yeah. And at the time, there were a couple of different companies that had different containers that they could drop off. We had about 3 or 4 different companies drop containers off over at the highway department. Now I think it's a lot fewer. I think Republicans, to my knowledge, is that they purchased some of these other companies.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I don't know, and if, you know, but if Joe Smith has a trash pickup service, do you think he could meet our needs and provide dumpsters and everything, and get an estimate what it would cost so that he could present it to us?
They just
I
need
don't
some
care who we
place,
go.
they just need some place where we
Yeah.
can, where the people can take the trash, 'cause I don't want them bringing it to county
That's
facilities.
just it, and that was the other thing, so, you know,
got a
I think
trailer.
Karen transfer,
I said, I got a trailer and a pickup.
Karen
So,
transfer,
so we now have a new player in the bidding game, man.
Karen transfer was, I think, is owned by Republic. So there may be another transfer station that, maybe that's what we need to look at. I don't know, you know, because it was all gonna be real neat and tidy right there.
But again, that's the question that you need to
Right.
answer for your
Right.
bid document is,
Sure.
are you gonna have multiple locations? Are you gonna have one on the east side of the county, the west side of the county, the south county, north county, and, or are you gonna have one centralized, or what's the plan?
Yeah.
So that way those entities know what they're
Yeah.
looking at.
I get it.
So Jim, you would continue to spearhead that for us?
I'll do my best.
We appreciate it. The board acknowledges your service. All right, I think,
I'll figure it out.
I think we've talked around this thing enough. Does anybody have anything else? Is there any public comment? Is there anybody out there that would like to make a public comment? All right. Anybody else? Last chance.
I make a motion then that we dismiss.
Adjourn?
Yeah, adjourn.
Roll call, please.
Who made the motion?
Jim.
Jim and then
To
Jim.
dismiss. Motion to dismiss.
I always say dismiss.
Tim Atkinson.
Yes, please.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Jim Raising.
Yay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
So.
With